Okay. Yes, you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, speaking of thinking Chabad, somebody, a chassid from Williamsburg, asked me recently, do you know the whole story of what happened when the Baal Shem Tov spoke to Moshiach? All you know and all you quote is Kisheyafutza Ma'nasecha Chutza. But there was more to the story. Moshiach said, Kisheyafutza Ma'nasecha Chutza. V'yedu kulam liyachid yechudim kamecha. When everyone will be able to be meyachid yechudim the way you do, then I'll come. The Baal Shem Tov cried bitterly and asked, how long is this going to be? Now the other Talmidim, the Chavraya Kadisha, believe that the Baal Shem Tov refused the answer. His crying meant that he refuses the answer, he objects. And that's why they were against the Alter Rebbe. But here's really what the difference is. Without Chabad, how are you going to spread the teachings of the Baal Shem Tov v'chutza? If it's all makif, then it'll take forever, and it might not even be possible to be meifetz the mayonis. You can't make the average person understand the Baal Shem Tov's shitte, the Baal Shem Tov's teachings, unless he first becomes frum, and he studies the regular parts of Torah. Then he can get to the deeper parts of Torah, and maybe he'll be inspired. But he'll never understand it because we don't understand it. So how do you convince everybody of something that you yourself don't understand? So as long as the Baal Shem Tov was around, he performed miracles and inspired people by miracles and by the force of his holiness. But chutzah, for the whole world, to know the Baal Shem Tov's teachings, and then what does it mean to be miyachid yechudim? That'll never happen. So the Baal Shem Tov objected, according to their view. Chabad, on the other hand, means if you can understand it, then every one of your Talmidim can understand it. If you can internalize it, then so can everybody else. It's available through Chabad. So the Alter Rebbe cried because it would be a long time and there would be a lot of suffering with World War II and etc., communism. But not that it's not doable. I remember when the first English Tanya came out, translation of Tanya. The Rebbe was so excited. Now Tanya will be available to a wider group of people. They can learn it in English. Incredible excitement. Then there was also the excitement when Rabbi Teitz would teach Gemara, Motzei Shabbos, on the radio, on WEVD. The Rebbe was very appreciative of it. And then when Rabbi Weinberg began teaching Tanya on the radio, again, the excitement and the Rebbe's commitment to being, to editing everything that he prepared. What was the excitement? The radio waves that reached far and wide were being elevated and being purified with the chassidus that was going through the airwaves, through the radio stations. And that prepared the avir, it prepared the atmosphere for holiness. So the world, the physical universe, became more of a receptacle, more receptive to Mashiach, to holiness. Radio waves, sound waves, exist on a certain frequency. There's a much higher frequency called microwave. And that's what the internet works on. This couple of weeks where yeshivas went online, everybody who had something to teach went online, and the microwave level of the universe was filled with Torah. And that cleaned the air, because l'chatchila, the microwaves were filled with unholiness. But now, that also was prepared and cleansed and purified and elevated, and it became receptive to Kedusha. There's one little point that I think that we could focus on and benefit from. We know, according to Chassidus, that the difference between Esav and Yaakov was that Esav was Tohu, the world of chaos, Makifim, and Yaakov was Pnimi. Esav claimed, I am ready for Mashiach. I can bring Mashiach. Come with me, we'll bring Mashiach. How will I bring Mashiach? You know, if you're powerful enough, if you're determined enough, if you're charismatic enough, you can move the world. One person with that powerful personality can move the world. And we saw it in the 20th century. Communism and Nazism, one person with enough determination can destroy half the world. And one person with charisma and with enthusiasm can destroy the other half of the world. But one person with enough energy and with enough power can bring Mashiach. The Rebbe insisted that Mashiach should come in a peaceful and pleasant manner. L'kabel pnei Mashiach means to be able to receive Mashiach in an internal way, not by a leap of faith, but that we are ready for it, we appreciate it, we understand the need for it, and we're desperate for it as human beings. And that's true of all human beings. So that was what happened between Yaakov and Esav. Esav said, come, I'll bring Mashiach. And Yaakov said, your Mashiach you can keep. I'll wait for the real Mashiach. In other words, when one person Taka has the influence, the power, the energy, the charisma to shake the world and bring Mashiach. But that will be only for certain people. It will be in a costly fashion, not b'derech of chesed and rachamim, and it won't be the geula amitis. It won't be shleima. Because what happens when this one person with the powerful personality and the charisma and the strong will and determination, what happens when he is gone? What happens when he dies? It's all over. The whole thing was his energy and his doing. He carried the whole thing. So without him, it's over. There's nothing. When the Rebbe said, there's nothing more I can do, the one thing I can do is give it over to you. If you stop and think about those words, it's pretty impressive and pretty awesome. What does it mean he can give it over to us? He's not saying, I give up, you try whatever you can, and good luck. He's saying, I can give it over to you. What does that mean? It means this is Chabad. The thing that the other Chavraya Kadisha were afraid of and believed impossible is because they thought that the Baal Shem Tov with his Kedusha, every Rebbe with his holiness can move people in a good direction. But then what happens when the Rebbe is gone? In other words, the problem with the personality is that he can't give it over. You can't give over Makif. Those who have it, and those who don't. When the Rebbe said, I can give it over to you, that is a huge statement. That tells you what Chabad is. Even when it comes to the subject of Mashiach, it's all Chabad. And the Rebbe actually said, Eires de Tehu bekelim de Tikkun. Yes, Mashiach is an overwhelming and makif powered Kedusha. How do we see that? Mashiach comes behesach hadas. As much as we talk about Mashiach, as much as we ask for Mashiach, as much as we learn about Mashiach, when Mashiach comes, it'll be behesach hadas. Unexpected. How can it be unexpected when we talk about him every day? All the time. So practically people say, as much as you think you know about Mashiach, you're still going to be surprised. That's not called Hesach Hadas. Hesach Hadas means L'mayla Mitam Vadas, Makifim. The koyach and the chayis of Mashiach is higher than Tam Vadas. But that can come down in Kelim de Tikkun. So when the Rebbe said, I can give it over to you, first of all, it's a huge statement about the Rebbe. The Rebbe never used charisma, willpower, force of personality. He never used that. Never. Not just after Chav Ches Nissen. From the first day, it was always, I can give it over to you. And for 40 years, he did give it over to us. And then at the end, he could say, you see, I gave it over to you. It's a huge, huge thing. And of course, it's a big compliment to us. The Rebbe is saying, you were a proper Mekabel. I could give it over, but you have to be able to get it. So it takes talent from both sides. You have to have a mashpia, but you have to have a Mekabel. So when the Rebbe said, I'm giving it over to you, it's not, the Rebbe said, was ich ken noch tun. It's not he can't do any more and now it's up to us. This is what he's doing. He's giving it over to us because this is Chabad, not Chagas. This is Tikkun, not Tohu. And in Tikkun, there's a Hemshech. You can give it over. There's a Rav and there's a Talmud. And the Talmud eventually steps into the Das of the Rav. Koyem Adaite de Rabbi. So here we are with the ability to spread the mayones everywhere, including the level of microwave frequency. which reaches the whole world instantaneously, much more powerful than radio waves. So I think that what we need to do is increase the learning, the chassidus, not stam lectures and pilpulim, actual chassidus on the internet. The more we do it, the more the variety of ways that it's done. Everybody teaches it a little differently with a different knetch and a different personality, and it appeals to different people who are listening. The more we teach the mayones of Chassidus, the way, like you say, thinking Chabad, we do it online, we reach the whole world, and we prove that what the Baal Shem Tov heard from Mashiach is in fact doable, even though it did take 300 years. But it is doable, because in Chabad, you can pass it on. Mekenes übergeben. So I think if we focus on that, it's encouraging, it's empowering. Yes, we can. People thought it couldn't be done. Holy, great people. Talmidim of the Baal Shem Tov, Einiklach of the Baal Shem Tov, said no, can't do it. We're doing it. And the internet helps a lot. I mean, look what we're doing right now. We're talking on the internet. So if we think Chabad and we speak Chabad and we teach Chabad, it goes over. It gets transferred from teacher to student, and then the student becomes a teacher, and Molo Ha'aretz Deyes Hashem. So the more we teach it, the more we stick to Chassidus, not pop psychology and not stam entertainment, the real thing. And there's never enough. We have to reach 7 billion people. Of course, it's doable now that we have an internet, but it takes a lot of people to do it. So whoever can, whoever knows a little bit of Chassidus, who can teach a little bit of Tanya, teach a Sikha of the Rebbe, a concept, an idea, the more we do that, the closer we get to filling the world. And now we know that it's doable because the Rebbe said, Ich gib es iber. Now our job is to do the same. Gib es iber. Pass it on. But in a Chabad way. So we should all be matzliach. And this hachona that we just went through should shake the world up. And we will not go back to business as usual after this, because we have a whole different taste of life. Just to go back to making money again doesn't even feel right. Now business has to become cooperative. Everybody's trying together. It's the only way we're going to make it because nobody has money left. So somebody said, the prices are going to go up on everything. I said, well, then nobody's going to buy because nobody has any money. So how is this going to work? It's going to have to be a completely different model. It's going to have to be without competition, without jealousy. People are going to have to help each other, put businesses back on their feet. It's going to be a nicer, more godly world, a more Mashiach-dike world. So, halavai, we should be able to contribute a little bit, at least not stand on the side and be a spectator. So if we can do a little bit to bring it closer, not only are we bringing it closer, but we're also being participants. We won't be ashamed when Mashiach comes, because we'll have been involved, at least to some degree. And the Hesach Hadas doesn't mean we stop thinking about him. The Hesach Hadas means it is not Das that's going to bring him. It's something higher, but it has to come down in Chachma, Bina, and Das. Hatzlacha Rabbah to everybody who's listening. Everyone should become a teacher. Everyone should spread the teachings of the Baal Shem Tov. The world wants to hear it. The world is ready to hear it. There is nothing else to hear in the world now that we've sobered up. So it can happen very quickly, even in Das Tach.